Still moving, still listening. No names, only presence.
Gotta see all they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my law degree. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my law degree. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see ORL. 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 VSR all day. VSR my way. Real ones only get it. Say less, we straight. 59, never back down. If you didn't know, just ask around. Pull the draft on the front stretch. Turn one, they tap it down. Force the gap with all contact. Feel the adrenaline off that. Under pressure from front to back. Another cup, one and keep it on track. You wanted more, I'm calling cap. Elvis O, come get it back. 50 drivers in the server. Hope you're ready for combat. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my law degree. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my law degree. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see ORL. All they see.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Christian Julian. I also go by Koju here at Odyssey Racing League, and you are tuned into GT Americas. Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. It is a multi-class format. We do have pros, AMs, and rookies on the track at the same time, battling it out for championship points for specifically season 20. We are in the final round. It's actually a little bit different than what you see on your screen here. Bathurst was actually moved down to round 4. Brands Hatch down to round 5, and we have actually Misano as our last round. So right now, the drivers are on track on for qualifying at Misano. So we are at Misano for the final week of Odyssey Racing League GT America's Season 20. But enough about the housekeeping. Let's go straight into the qualifying action. On our screen, Bobby Evans for Evans on the track. That's the number 120 Ferrari. Has already started their qualifying here at the beautiful, amazingly underrated, in my opinion, Misano World Circuit. Let me get you the actual name, because there's like a legit real name. It's the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, named after the late Marco Simoncelli, who I believe passed away in 2012 or 2011. Before that, however, it was also known as the Autodromo Santa Monica, or the Circuito Internazionale Santa Monica Misano, but they just shortened it now to basically Misano, which is a lot better in my opinion. Michael Maletta in the chat. So does Orel have their own song? Yes, we do. We have our own theme song, and a big shout out to the creator of our theme song. That's actually an interesting turn of events there for Phil Dixon, who was in the number 85 Porsche, sitting in provisional pole 2. Took a quick detour off the screen and then back into the pit lane as we move on over to Adonique Stapleton. P3 overall for the number 35 McLaren. Adonique is also P3 overall for the standings as of right now. 132 total points for Adonique here. I lost my pen. So there we go. Yep. It already happened, folks. I already lost my writing utensil. But the only two drivers that are above Adonik, which Adonik is going to be fighting for the rest of this championship, would be Brandon Ash or Sebastian Quesada. Brandon Ash actually not on my timetable, so I don't believe they are here. And Sebastian also not here, so both drivers have finished their championship points, or basically they're gonna be finished collecting their championship points. And Adonik Stapleton does have a chance to win it all here tonight, depending on where they finish. However, we do have a bit of a surprise on our screen. Robert Logan in the number 83 Ford Mustang screaming his way all the way to provisional pole with a 135.247 for the number 83 Mustang here. Now coming into the double right-handers. This is called Big Curve or Curva Grande, that some people like to call it. It's also known as like Curve 1 or Curvone. I don't know how to pronounce that in Italian. My Italian is terrible. However, coming through the final turn, will we watch Robert Logan stick it on? It looks like he is still within track limits, crossing the finish line. Will this improve his time? It will. 135 flat for Robert Logan in the number 83 Ford Mustang. That's a great time. Jay Paisa in the number 135 now crossing the finish line. Will this improve their time? It doesn't. Jay Paisa is going to stick. He's stuck to P4, like he's got glue stuck to the bottom of his shoe. And he actually elects to end his qualifying there by the looks of it. Brandon Ash. I do sit corrected. Brandon Ash is here. For some reason, I just couldn't see his name. However, the number 69 Mercedes is here to continue their championship rampage. Brandon Ash, P2 overall in the rookie championships. 152 total points. So as long as Brandon stays ahead of Adonik, Brandon Ash will stay in P2 overall for the championship. Potentially has a chance to take P1 since Sebastian is not here. Oh, did I even answer your question, Michael? Yes, we do have our own theme song created by one of our very own drivers, Dean Solomon. So if you do see him, let that very talented musician know that we always send him a big thank you. Looks like it's going to be the last flying lap for the number 69 AMG. We did have Jade Russell in the number 234 gain a couple spots. So Jade Russell now in the number 234 Ferrari, now in P8 overall. Bobby Evans would be P7, the number 120 Ferrari there. Brandon Ash trying to fight his way past the third step of the podium onto the first. For some reason, was disqualified, it looks like, because of a timing issue. But however, I do believe he could have been legal. However, the stewards know way more about that than I do. Got a nice little overview shot of Corbon there. The big, fast right-handers into a hard braking zone. The number 727 Porsche is on our screen right now. Darth Chemo behind the wheel, warming up the tires on that Porsche. In case you didn't know, racing fans, the engine on the Porsche is in the back, so the front has less weight, or the only weight on the front end is basically all of the mechanical weight and the fuel tank. So it's going to be a little bit harder to warm up the tires or the front tires of the Porsche, and it is also easier to scrub them. So the Porsche using a little bit of a different driving style compared to the other GT3s on the track. However, still a very interesting and a very powerful car. Not to mention the driver behind the wheel is also very, very strong. So this car behind, but having the right driver behind this car will make it a indispensable weapon in your arsenal, I will say. Yeah, I lost my pen. What happened? I was riding with it a second ago to give you guys more information, and then it just disappeared. I'm rolling around, seeing if my chair maybe caught it, like disappeared into the black hole. We are in qualifying, racing fans, so it does look a little bit interesting. We do have separate qualifying for the classifications here at Odyssey Racing League. Starting from the bottom, we do have our rookies, which are the red plated numbers. Then we do have our silver drivers, our amateur drivers. They will have these silver backgrounds, as we can see on the left-hand side of our screen. And then we do have our pros, or our gold drivers, depending on how you classify it, gold or pro. Those drivers here at Odyssey Racing League have the white background number plates. So they are going to be last in qualifying. Darth Chemo moving up into P3. 727 Porsche in P3. Agüero Martinez able to actually get a little bit more ahead. I was about to say the same time, but it's actually not. Agüero Martinez in the number 15 BMW P2. 135.035 for Agüero. Kyle White able to sandwich himself in between Darth Chemo and Agüero there. Kyle White now in P3, the number 251 Aston Martin. 135.237 Darth Chemo. 135.590. Actually, you all can't see that, can you? There you go. That should be a little bit better for the racing fans here. If we also look at just fastest times here, I'm gonna pull up this online resource that is available to see all of the fastest times here in ACC, specifically on a track or a car, right? You can actually like look up all that different information. But right now I'm going to be looking at MISANO's times and see kind of what we're looking for. So for the pros, we're going to be looking at anything close to 133 flat is going to be very good for a pro driver. For the rookies, anything that is, or for AMs and rookies, anything that is in the 135 range or lower is very, very fast for a rookie and amateur drivers. So that is around 103%. What that means, racing fans, is that is about 3 seconds slower. 135 is 3 seconds slower, about 3 seconds slower than the fastest time recorded, or the average of like the top 8 times or something like that. It's like an average. And that average is 132.33, so that's about the fastest that you can get here. Speaking of fastest, breaking through the 135 barrier, Kyle White, provisional pole 1 for the number 251 Aston Martin, 134.630. MISANO being probably one of my favorite, I wouldn't call it a legacy track, right? But this track has been around for so many different types of racing, and me specifically, y'all are gonna learn a little bit something about Koju tonight. I started my love for motorsports with MotoGP. I watched a lot of MotoGP and NASCAR growing up with my dad, and one of the races that I got to see was a MotoGP race here at MISANO. And it just so happened to also include one of my favorite MotoGP drivers. So, in case y'all do not know, Valentino Rossi was also a MotoGP driver, or you probably do know. Valentino Rossi was a MotoGP driver in the early 2000s, winning lots of championships and also arguably winning my heart as my favorite MotoGP driver of the era. So I was actually able to see a race here with my dad watching him. He was against, what was his name? It wasn't Schumacher. It was also another race where he was battling, and it was like at the last lap at Barcelona, at the last turn. I can't remember what the name of the other driver was, but that also like added him as one of my favorite drivers, Valentino Rossi. Also, in case you didn't know, switched over to GT driving, GT racing, is a driver of the BMW. So, a multi-championship, a 2-3-time winner of the MotoGP race here at Misano. Also moving over into GT racing, Valentino Rossi. Also won a couple of races here, I believe. So, really, really cool to see that. And like I said, it's a great track. It has a little bit of everything. And at the end, you have the final turn, or the final couple of turns, where you can literally side-by-side battle it out. And it is incredible to watch. Speaking of incredible to watch, now our pro drivers on the track. We are on board with the number 924, the baby shark herself, Leila Martinez, in the Kraft Mac and Cheese Racing Aston Martin. Kyle White was able to stay on top of the leaderboards, 134.632 for them. Robert Logan on the number 83, having a strong showing for the rookies right now in provisional pole, or in provisional P2, and Agüero Martinez on the number 15 BMW provisional pole 3. However, this may or may not change, as we do now have the pros on the track. And the pros usually waste no time in getting warmed up and getting their times up on the board. I had my track map up. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So, Misano World Circuit. I'm sorry. Yeah, Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. It's going to be 16 turns tonight. It's about 4.2 kilometers, 2.6 miles. It is right now 28 degrees Celsius ambient temperature and 28 degrees Celsius on the track. That is close to like 9, it's like 80 something degrees if I remember my math correctly. Yeah, it's like 78, 77, something like that in freedom units. However, I don't know why, I just like Celsius more. I'm from Texas and I like Celsius more. Makes sense. Keeping an eye on the baby shark, going through the last couple of turns. That's turn 14, Carro, into turn 15, which is the left-hander, and then the final turn, turn 16, also known as Misano, because it has the big giant Misano. Can't see it. Where is it? Can you see it there? Oh, you can see it. You probably could see it there, but crossing the finish line, Leila Martinez. Oh, unfortunately. Oh. So my timing sheet was wrong. It looked like she was on a valid lap still. However, it was an invalid lap. The driver that was on the valid lap, or the first driver to get past the line on a valid lap, is actually Michael Moletta, the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing. Shoots up into P2. Baller Squad Racing BSR, now with a new livery. It's a new paint scheme. New clothes. Same funny dudes behind the wheel. And not funny, I mean as in like funny as in they're funny, not funny looking. Robert Rochta with a time as well, 3:31. The 3:31 BMW in P6. Bonus Charles right under them in the number 26 BMW. P7 for bonus. A couple of other drivers still need to qualify for the pros. I do also see Mr. Andrew Rados in the pit lane, the number 82 Porsche. The championship leader for the pro drivers actually almost tied. Oh my goodness, there's actually only a 2-point difference between Andrew Rados in the number 82 Porsche and Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG. Right now, for the final championship standings, Andrew Rados 158 total points. Alex Cruz, where's Alex? Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG P7 with a time of 135.385, 156 total championship points. So literally only 2 points between Andrew Rados and Alex Cruz. Leila Martinez also not too far off, 152 total points. So it is actually a dogfight for the championship standing, or for the championship crown here at Odyssey Racing League Season 20 for the pros. That is probably the closest I think I've ever seen it in the last couple of seasons. Usually around this time you have 1 or 2 drivers that have clearly pushed away from the rest. However, with only a minute and 12 seconds to go left in qualifying, it does look like Alex Cruz is going to have the best chance here to potentially walk away with the championship, as we do see... where'd he go, actually? Andrew Rados, yeah, in P20 in the pits. So he's going to be starting from the back. And we do have Leila Martinez. Leila Martinez, where did you go, my friend? Leila Martinez actually shooting up into P8, the number 924 Aston Martin. So right behind Alex Cruz. So it's going to be a dogfight right from the get-go. Right now for the amateurs, Darth Chemo and Kyle White are still fighting for the championship. 194 total points for Darth Chemo. Kyle White 182 total points. So if anything crazy happen there, or if Chemo has a terrible race, then we potentially have a new silver leader and a new silver winner in Kyle White, which would be, that's going to be incredible. So tonight is the night, racing fans, for some really close racing. That is the end of qualifying for Alex Cruz, able to move up into the podium spot, the number 12 AMG, cementing himself right now in P3 with a 134.835. Kyle White, your provisional pole leader, actually. That's a crazy time, 134.630 for Kyle White. Mikael Moleta still crossing the line as well, able to actually take away the top spot at the last second. During overtime, the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing sitting comfortably at the top, 133.962. So that puts Kyle White in P2 provisionally, and Alex Cruz back down into P3. Couple of drivers left crossing the line. I did see a name that looked familiar. Robert Rochta and Dean Solomon going in there and shaking it up. Robert Rochta able to take a P3 and Dean Solomon pushing through into P4. What an amazing qualifying. Wow. We're going to go to a quick intermission and then we're going to get started with the grid walk. So don't go anywhere, racing fans. We'll be right back.
Something opens wide, stillness holds. Breathe, flow. start to drift. Fade slow, lost, just further than sound.
Oh, I apologize for the abrupt cut in music. I messed that up a little bit. But we're going to get started, actually. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the grid walk, the starting grid walk for Season 20 of Odyssey Racing League GT Americas. It is round 6. We are at the beautiful MISANO World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. And on podium tonight, in P1, Mikhail Moleta and the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing. In P2, Kyle White for Fat Aston Racing. That's the number 251 Aston Martin. P3, Robert Rochta and the number 331 BMW. Barely missing out of the podium, but always a good sight to see. Dean Solomon for Backroad GT Racing. That's the number 59 Porsche, P4 for Dean. Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG for Winwood Racing, P5 for Alex. P6, Layla Baby Shark Martinez in the number 924 Aston Martin, P6 for Layla. P7 is Robert Logan, ahead of the rookie pack, if I do say so myself. P7 overall for Robert Logan, however, in a commanding lead for the rookies, for the red plates, if I do say so. P7 for Robert Logan. P8, Agüero Martinez in the number 15 BMW for Moon Black Race Team. Bonus Charles in the number 26 BMW, P9. Rounding off your top 10, Darth Chemo in the number 727 Porsche. P11 is Phil Dixon and number 85 Porsche for Dixon Motorsports. P12, Adonique Stapleton. Number 35 McLaren. Brandon Ash lined up right next to him in the number 69 Mercedes AMG. P13 for Brandon Ash. P14 is Jay Paisa. Number 135 McLaren. P15, Drew Jensen. The number 19 Ford Mustang for DJ Motorsports. Michael Cortez lined up alongside Drew Jensen there. Michael Cortez behind the wheel of the number 716 Noobs Are Us McLaren. Ryan Chanley in the number 67 Ford Mustang. That's the Westline Insurance Solutions livery Mustang, to be exact. P17 for Ryan. P18 goes to Bobby Evans and the number 121 Ferrari. P19 is held on by Jade Russell, number 234 Ferrari. An interesting sight to see, actually, in the number 82 Porsche, driven by Andrew Rados, your Pro Championship leader, starting in P20th. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does for the rest of this race. However, starting from P20 is going to be a little bit of a challenge, if I do say so myself. Shane Sullivan, last but not least, P21 for the number 617 for Trackalicious. Shane Sullivan behind the wheel. As always, racing fans, we have a very, very interesting and amazing race for you tonight. It's going to be 60 minutes of non-stop action. A mandatory pit stop is required for all of the drivers. They must enter the pits and they must take fuel. Tires are optional here at Misano. It is a little bit interesting if you do go for a tire strategy. If you do go for a tire strategy, I would go for a very early strategy. However, since it's only an hour sprint race, I just stay with the same tires. And I expect most of the pros to not change tires as well, as we do see them now starting to line up side by side. As the anticipation starts to grow, as the drivers slow down, they are already started warming up their tires, their brakes, and hopefully they've warmed up their brains enough to get through the first couple of turns with no incidents. As we go through the final turn known as Misano, the drivers are going to be lined up side by side, and all we need to do is wait for the green flag to drop and the sounds and the horn of war basically to sound off so that we can see the battles commence. The final turn here now, as we go side by side. Michael Moletta is your P1 driver, so he's starting along the inside on the right. That's the car on our screen right now. Kyle White is going to be starting second. He's going to be starting outside. That's the green flag drops, and that is the start of the final round of Odyssey Racing League. GT America's almost 3 wide, as we do see Dean Solomon trying to go along the outside, but Mikael Moletta with a very, very great start along the inside. He's able to stick along the inside and make sure that no one's able to get around him. Alex Cruz losing a couple spots now, moving down into P7 because a lot of the cars were able to get around him as he tried to make an offensive move. 2, if not 3 wide in the back. Jay Pyson, actually a little bit of contact next to Jay Pyson. That's a number 67 AMG turning around, or Adonique Stapleton getting turned around, getting pushed and then turned right back around by the number 69 Mercedes AMG. We actually see them off the track now, as we do see a little bit of an incident happening in the back. Nothing to that's actually quite a few. That's about 6 cars that have been yellow flagged there, but I don't see any potential for a red flag. So the fight continues, as we do see Leila Martinez and Agüero Martinez fighting along the inside. Leila Martinez potentially getting along the inside of Dean Solomon. Dean Solomon left the door, unfortunately, wide open, and now Leila Martinez and Dean Solomon side by side coming through the last couple, or through the last turn, not the last turn. This is turn 10. Now through turns 11 and 12, Leila Martinez side by side almost. Who wants it more? The 924 along the inside, Dean Solomon along the outside. Dean Solomon having to give up the go-ahead position. However, Leila Martinez getting pushed off track, getting back on the track excellently, and is going to be holding on to that spot. So it's going to be Leila Martinez moving up into P4, Dean Solomon back down in P5. Agüero Martinez had a little bit of a push towards the front there, but got pushed back by the move by Leila Martinez. So now Agüero Martinez P6, Darth Kemmel P7, Alex Cruz P8, Bonus Charles P9, Phil Dixon P10, and Robert Logan P11, moving down a couple of spots, now fighting for the championship, or for the lead of the rookies there, with Phil Dixon along them side by side coming into turn 1. Looking up at the beginning, or the leaders, Mikael Moletta has only 1.5 seconds between him and Kyle White. So actually, let's take a quick peek up to the front, and the car engine sounds. We need to put that back up as well. Thank you. As we do have more contact between Phil Dixon and Robert Logan, hopefully not too much contact between them as the battle continues and rages on there in the mid-pack. Agüero Martinez and Dean Solomon switching spots, and it looked like a tap from behind by Phil Dixon. That's the purple Porsche, yeah. So unfortunately going a little bit too deep in eating the back lunch, or eating lunch of Dean Solomon, and that pushed Dean Solomon off track, and that's going to be a net loss for spots there. However, Dean Solomon trying to stick along the inside of turn 10 there, which is a great spot to make a move, especially if drivers leave the door open, like Bonus Charles there, who left the door wide enough open for Dean Solomon to slip on through. We can see that it is a Porsche sandwich now for Bonus Charles, who's going to have to make a move along the inside. Does he have the speed? He does, but is he able to make it into the braking zone before Dean Solomon? Side by side they go, potentially a squirrely exit for Bonus Charles, and he's going to be losing 1, potentially almost 2 spots, as we do see now Darth Kemmel smelling blood in the water and fighting for that position. Oh my goodness, Bonus Charles, yep. What a great recovery by Bonus. However, not able to recover the spot. So that's going to be moving Bonus into P8. Moving over after your first couple of laps in P1, the number 72, Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing, driven by Mikael Moletta. P1, Kyle White, P2 for Fat Aston Racing, Robert Rochton, P3 right behind him. Let's get you a better camera angle, racing fans. P4 is Leila Martinez in the number 924 Aston Martin, P5 Aguero Martinez, P6 Alex Cruz, and number 12 AMG right behind him. Dean Solomon in the number 59 Porsche with Bonus Charles and Darth Kemmel in P7 and P9. P8 and P9 respectively, trying to make moves, trying to push past the higher 10s, trying to get into the lower 10s. And by that I mean P5, P4, and around the lights. Did see a little bit of a switcheroo there between Jay Paisa and Ryan Chanley. Potentially contact between both cars, as we do now see Jay Paisa a little bit farther ahead. And by a little bit farther ahead, able to stick his nose. Ryan Chanley with the switcheroo move along the inside, making making Jay Paisa having to go far out wide, as unfortunately there is a Ford Mustang there, so Jay can't turn in as much as he would like. And there is not a lot of grip out there, as we do see. Oh, a squirrely exit there for Ryan Chanley as he tries to stay ahead, closes the door on the nose of the number 135, and that puts Ryan Chanley into P17. However, Jay Paisa, with the Go-Go Gadget extendo arm on the back bumper of that Ford Mustang, is not going to let them get past or get very far, if I do say so myself. Andrew Rados, our challenger for tonight, our last to first challenger, in the number 82 Porsche, moving up into P10 with a great start, already making up 10 spots. It's a matter of time before we see Mr. Rados towards the top in the Pep Boys Porsche there. On board now with the number 26 BMW. This is Bonus Charles. We do have Andrew Rados and number 82 Greenbout Porsche right behind him, and Dean Solomon in the Porsche in front. So we do have a Porsche sandwich with BMW meat in the middle. Oh, the Porsche along the right, around behind, almost getting really close, side by side as they're getting into the last couple of turns. It does look like Bonus Charles is able to stay out ahead, as Andrew Rados is still fighting tooth and nail for every single inch of position that he can get. A squirrely exit for the car in front of Dean Solomon. So that's going to be Alex Cruz, as we do see kitty litter being thrown up in the dirt. A defensive move made by Bonus Charles, sweeping across the track to make sure that Andrew Rados, who did have a better exit, is not able to get ahead. A great defensive move by Bonus Charles, able to stick into P8. Andrew Rados having to fight for those spots. A big contact, unfortunately, being made at the top. Robert Roach and Kyle White being collected up in a yellow flag incident, as I do see a, what's that called? I'm sorry, what's the word? An orange flag. It's like a accident pen. Oh, no, what's it called? Collision. There you go. A collision flag. So there's a collision flag here on our screen between Robert Rocha and Aguero Martinez. But as we do say here in Odyssey Racing League, most of the time, rubbing is racing along the inside. Robert Rocha goes. Potential undercut made by Aguero Martinez. It does work, as Robert Rocha goes in too deep. And I don't remember the rest of the song, but okay. Robert Rocha, unfortunately, a little bit too deep, but able to recover with a nice slipstream behind Kyle White in the number 251 Aston Martin. So Aguero Martinez moves up into P3. Robert Rocha actually loses 2 spots down into P5. Alex Cruz in the number 12 Mercedes AMG. We could see him hunting for blood there in the back. Kitty litter being thrown up in the air as the right-hand tires of the number 331 BMW go into the grass and dirt there. As we all know, racing fans, there's no grip in the grass and the dirt. So they're going to be slowing down just enough to potentially allow Alex Cruz to catch up. But through the last couple of turns, the BMW is just able to. It's such a nimble car compared to the AMG. It is 8 p.m. on the track, 26 degrees Celsius. So a nice cool evening for the drivers. Around decent operating temperature for the cars, maybe a little bit too hot. Most of the time, anything, drivers love to see 20 degrees Celsius ambient temperature. Like, that's amazing. Drivers love that, especially me. I love it. If it's anywhere between 20 to 26 or 25, like, it's like perfect temperatures. Just for just for everything. Tires, grip, durability. A little bit of front end damage for the number 727 Porsche, but 'tis but a flesh wound, Darth Chemo would say, as they go alongside with Bonus Charles potentially being pushed out, but they're just trying to gain grip, as it's going to be a three-way battle there almost between Bonus Charles, that is the Ford Mustang of Robert Logan, and then Darth Chemo on our screen. Robert Logan, yep, able to get an amazing exit there coming out of turn 10 and able to get in front of Darth Chemo. So Robert Logan breaking into the top 10 now in the number 83 Ford Mustang, now P9, as Bonus Charles also having to sweep around the outside and unfortunately takes too wide of an exit for that turn, but Robert Logan not able to capitalize fully on the mistake of the number 26, so the number 26 able to take that spot. Bonus Charles now on the defensive back foot here as he puts his car in the middle of the track, which is the best spot to be in if you are trying to defend your position coming into the next couple of turns. And by the next couple of turns, I mean like the first couple of turns, so turns 1, 2, and 3. Right now, the battle on our screen, Michael Cortez trying to defend against Adonic Stapleton while trying to look for a gap in Jade Russell's defense there. Adonic able to smell a little bit of blood in the water, trying to go around the outside of turn 3 there, potentially almost making it a switcheroo. However, Michael Cortez able to make the grip on those tires stick right at the edge of the track there and able to keep it within the white lines. Adonic Stapleton, a better exit side by side coming into the braking zone of turn 8. A switcheroo happening. No, unfortunately, Michael Cortez not able to cross his T's or dot his I's and complete the move there. So Adonic Stapleton moving up into P15 with the go-ahead spot. Robert Logan side by side with Bonus Charles, fighting for every single centimeter. The door closed in front. The Bonus Charles in the 26 BMW trying to hold on to position, however, not able to make it stick. Robert Logan all around the outside, able to take position, holding on. Yes, able to hold on. Now the number 83 Ford Mustang of Robert Logan in P9 doesn't have to make a defensive move as they're able to push, able to create a small little cushion there on the front straight, or the front little mini straight, for the Ford Mustang to be able to basically like stretch out its legs. That thing is so quick on the straight. No matter how long the straight is, the Ford Mustang will beat any car. It's incredibly quick. Andrew Rados in the number 82 Porsche with a great slipstream, trying to stick his nose in there. Trying to stick his nose in this fight between Alex Cruz and Robert Rochester. Alex Cruz sensing the danger of the number 82 Porsche front end there, having to create a little bit of space, which unfortunately is going to be pushing the number 12 wider than they want. Andrew Rados with the inside move, with the inside line along the double right-handers, and then the left-hander of turn 6 Andrew Rados moving into P6 pretty comfortably, I might add. 134.117 is also their fastest time. So Andrew Rados in the number 82 Porsche also holding on to the purple crown of fastest time on track. Robert Borchta, not a great exit. Potentially going to be giving more than enough slipstream to the number 82. Andrew Rados trying to catch up. Can he make a move? No move in the braking zone, however. Andrew Rados keeping his eyes forward. Robert Borchta going a little bit farther wide than he wanted to, coming through the second to last turn, through the last turn known as Misano now. Oh, a potentially good slipstream. Showing his hand almost early, but just enough. Andrew Rados is able to get along the inside. Robert Borchta not able to make the defensive move, or not able to put himself in a defensive move. Stuck to the racing line. Andrew Rados with enough slipstream, able to get along the inside and moving up into P5. But now the battle actually moves down a spot. Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG smells blood in the water that Robert Borchta is a little wounded potentially, and is now going to be trying to make a move as they would like to move up into P6 as well. Race control also letting us know there that the official pit window is now open. So drivers have 30 minutes to dive into the pit lane, get their mandatory fuel, and then get back out on the racetrack. Couple of moves being made a little bit further down. Dean Solomon able to make it along the outside of Robert Logan. However, the switcheroo won't probably help them here, as Robert Logan is going to be able to stay ahead. And with the amazing V8 power of the Ford Mustang, this thing's going to stick ahead. However, both Porsches with a slipstream there are also able to produce quality lap times and quality speed, as we do see Darth Chemo and Dean Solomon coming into the last final turn. A little bit of a bobby squirrely exit there for Dean Solomon, who's potentially using his mirrors, or driving with his mirrors, as he's going to have to defend, or he's going to have to either decide to defend against Chemo in the number 727 Porsche behind him, or continue fighting aggressive and attack Robert Logan in the Ford in front of him. Kyle White in the number 251 Aston Martin, our first member of the pit lane brigade. Welcome to the pit lane, Kyle. I'm up here in the booth, if you can see me. Hello. I'm waving. Wave back. Also, please, someone send me snacks up here. They forgot to fill my fridge with snacks. So the booth is... there's no snacks in the booth here. Please, thank you. Very early undercut by Kyle White, I might add. I don't see anyone else going into the pit lane. Side by side, Porsche on Porsche violence potentially. The switcheroo being made. Almost, but a squirrely exit for both Porsches. It did look like Chemo had the switcheroo like basically under lock and key. However, not able to make it stick. The tires not sticky enough. Bonus Charles in the BMW making a move under the undercut move in the number 26 BMW. Potentially a push off from Dean Solomon. I didn't see any contact there. However, Bonus Charles probably potentially being courteous enough and giving the spot back, as it could have been a dangerous move. However, Bonus Charles, that was, oh man, at that speed you had to have made that move. If you did anything else, potentially it could have been contact there, and which would have been uglier at the double right hand turn at that full speed. So Bonus Charles still in the fight there. In the Porsche. What is this? He's just fending off a bunch of Porsches with a stick. Porsche in front of him, and then two Porsches behind. Bonus Charles does have his night cut out for him. But we're going to be moving up a little bit for Leila Martinez in the number 924 Porsche. Side by side, Andrew Rados giving them a run for their money. Agüero Martinez seeing the battle behind them and is going to have to figure out, when am I going to defend and when am I not? the Porsche of Andrew Rados along the inside. Leila Martinez having to go along the outside. The Porsche with such better grip on the inside, able to make it stick. Will Leila Martinez try to go for the switcheroo? Potential contact by the Porsche and the BMW, however, no contact as they now go side by side, squeezing each other, trying to get the slipstream. Andrew Rados slips right back on in, which also will give Leila Martinez a little bit of that slipstream as well. The number 924 Aston Martin is still trying to battle out. Oh, the BMW in front of Guido Martinez spinning out, able to regain control, loses 2 spots, but able to get back in between the white lines. What a move! What happened? He just completely lost control there in the fastest turn on the track. A little bit of a squirreliness coming there, so a little bit of maybe the tires just are losing grip on the tires now. But Leila Martinez and Andrew Rados able to capitalize on the mistake of the number 15 BMW, and that pushes Guido Martinez down into P14. Leila Martinez up into P3. Andrew Rados up into P2. We do have, that's Dean Solomon entering the pits. We do have the number 67 leaving the pits. So Ryan Shanley now leaving the pits and slotting themselves in to back into traffic here. Potential contact between Phil Dixon and Drew Jensen, which does push Drew Jensen back down to P11 out of turn 8, but now through turns 9 and 10. Phil Dixon along the outside, pushed a little bit farther wide than they probably like. Drew Jensen in the number 19 Ford Mustang with the slipstream coming through the back straight. Will this be enough to get past Phil Dixon in the Porsche coming through the next couple of turns? I don't know. However, we're going to be keeping an eye on this, as this is a very close battle. Dean Solomon into the pit lane, now out of the pit lane as well. The number 59 Porsche slotting in right behind the race leader, actually. Speaking of race leader, the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing, excuse me. Mikhail Moleta behind the wheel, P1. Andrew Rados and the number 82 Porsche, P2. P3 goes to Leila Martinez as of right now, the number 924 Aston Martin. P4 Guido Martinez, the number 15 BMW. P5 Robert Rochester and the number 331 BMW. P6 Alex Cruz and the number 12 AMG. P7 Robert Logan in the number 83 Ford Mustang. P7 for Robert Logan. P8 for Bonus Charles and the number 26 BMW. P9 Darth Chemo and the number 727 Porsche. And at P10, rounding off your top 10, Drew Jensen and the number 19 Ford Mustang. So I am being told, and it is a confirmation, that the number 82 Porsche, Andrew Rados, is doing a last first challenge. So let us see if he's able to complete that tonight. If he does complete that tonight, that will also cement his victory for Odyssey Racing League's GT America's Season 20 of the Pro Championship. Yeah, right now it is Andrew Rados in the lead with 158 total points. Alex Cruz in P2 with 156 total points. And then Leila Martinez in at P3 with 152 total points. So it is... the championship is not over until the timer at the top hits 0. However, it is probably the closest championship I have ever seen here at Odyssey Racing League. In my recent memory. I've been here for a couple of seasons. So I think I would remember a closer championship. Jade Russell in the number 234 Ferrari. Locked in a battle with Adonique Stapleton and the number 35 McLaren there on our screen. That's the golden and white McLaren there. Into the double right-handers. When you bust a right, and then you bust a right, and then you bust a left. Down into the mini back straight. I call this the mini back straight. Jade Russell trying to put their front tires along the backside of Adonic Stapleton's, potentially going for the switcheroo as Jade Russell went a little bit too deep. But we're gonna we're gonna see if a move is made here. No, a great defensive line by Adonic Stapleton to not allow Jade Russell pass. A yellow contact flag for Robert Bochta into the wall. The number 331 BMW. What happened? There's got to have been major contact there for the number 331. We're definitely going to look for that. What happened there for the number 331 that pushed him into the wall? What is going on? Hold on, let me see. I do have a replay here. Let's see right here. Coming into the final turn. Oh, it does look like... Oh, no. Potential mechanical failure there for the number 331. So that's he's gonna have to return to garage, I think, or unless he's back on track. It doesn't look like he's back on track. No, the number 331 had to retire. Oh, no. So an unfortunate mechanical failure for the number 331 has force them to retire. That is not... That makes me frown. That gives me a big frowny face. I don't like seeing drivers that have to, unfortunately, retire early due to mechanical failures, or by mechanical failures, racing fans, I mean like something like probably like in real life, his direct drive, or maybe the internet went out, or I don't know, maybe his computer exploded. I have no idea. We really won't know until they let us know in the chat. So it does look like potentially it was just like maybe an internet outage. So they will have to return to garage. Once they're able to reconnect, they're able to join back into the race where they left off. But it does look like as of now they are retiring due to mechanical failure. However, this retiring is not permanent until the race is basically over. Drivers are allowed to return back if their wheels, or if their direct drive's wheel start working, or if their internet reconnects. They're able to join back. We do have some time penalties being handed out to drivers. The only ones that I'm kind of worried about are the 30-second time penalty handed out to the number 135 McLaren, that's Jay Paisa behind the wheel, and the 20-second time penalty for the number 67 Mercedes-AMG driven by Brandon Ash. Both of those time penalties, like that specific like time penalty given, are very unorthodox. So those normally aren't given for like success penalties. So they have done probably something naughty, and have gone on Santa's naughty list to have been given a 30-second time penalty and a 20-second time penalty apiece. Normally, when we look at 15 seconds in time, and the 5, 10s, and 15s, those are most probably the success penalties. And something that is just as bad as receiving coal on Christmas Day. Mikhail Moleta and the number 72 Aston Martin into the... Oh, no! Our leader has dove into the pit lane, but has given himself a drive-through for speeding in the pits. That is... You guys can't see it, but I'm smacking my forehead. Oh, no. So that might potentially end the race for the number 72. Mikhail, the number 72, Aston Martin, your winner from last round. So he did win round 5. Almost had round 6 in the bag, but unfortunately receives a last-minute drive-through. Oh, no. Actually, racing fans, I may be incorrect. I might have not been for a drive-through. I'm receiving words from the stewards right now. looking up the sheet. There we go. Yeah, so nothing on the stewarding sheet for the number 72, so it does look like it was for a drive-through. What? Oh. Alex Cruz into the pit lane they go. Pit limiter, pit limiter, pit limiter, and welcome to the pit lane party, Alex. We do see the BMW Bonus Charles also joining us in the pit lane. The number 72 joining us in the pit lane. It's a pit lane party, everybody. Behind them, I do see the Ford Mustang. That's Drew Jensen. Yes, Drew Jensen and the number 19 Ford Mustang into the pit lane. That's the Ford Mustang as well of Robert Logan in the pit lane. So that's going to be shaking things up a little bit as the rest of the drivers are still out on track. 1, 2, that's 3, 5 drivers in the pit lane. 5 drivers have completed their pit stop already, and the rest still have 15 minutes to go till they need to at least put their 4 tires within the pit lane and get some fuel. Your new race leader, the number 82 Porsche driven by Andrew Rados, Layla Martinez on the number 924 Aston Martin P2, Agüero Martinez P3 for the number 15 BMW, Darth Chemo himself. In the number 727 Porsche P4, and rounding off your top 5, Adonic Stapleton, the number 35 McLaren. Fighting actually right now on our screen fighting for P5 with Jade Russell here. Jade Russell with a great exit by the looks of it. Will the slipstream help the Ferrari? It doesn't look like it. The Italian machinery needs all the help it can get on its home circuit, or one of its home circuits here. As it does look like it just isn't able to capitalize on the slipstream compared to some of the front engine cars. Agüero Martinez and Andrew Rados both diving into the pit lane. As we can see on our screen, both cars getting the necessary fuel that they need. Jade Russell and Adonix elect to stay out. So that does also mean we do have a new race leader, the number 924 Aston Martin. And I think, is that a shark behind the wheel? Yeah, that's a baby shark. That's Layla Martinez. Who else is joining us here in the pit lane party? That's the number 120. That's Bobby Evans. Shane Sullivan, Agüero Martinez. Welcome to the pit lane party, my friends. Fuel is over there. Snacks are over there. And I'm up here. Hello. You guys can't see me, but this is where the booth is usually up here. Every week they switch me. It's not cool. The number 727 Porsche in at P2 also diving into the pit lane. So that is slowly but surely knocking off all of the drivers off of the mandatory pit stop list. A great slipstream there for Bonus Charles. Can they capitalize it? He likes to go along the outside. Alex Cruz with the best defensive move. Oh, both cars colliding at the exit of turn 11. Excuse me, that's turn 13. At the exits of turns 12 and 13, both cars collecting and colliding there. getting a hip check, basically. The number 12 giving the hip check to the number 26. Not intentional, as it looked like both drivers were just trying to stay out on track. But the number 12 potentially going a little bit wider than they have wanted to, giving a hip check and basically cross-checking them across the track there. But able to stay within the white lines. Bonus Charles showing off he's got the skills to pay the bills. Adonique Stapleton and Kimo Smith in the number 727 Porsche in the pit lane now. Only 2 drivers left that need to complete their pit stop. That's our race leader and the number 135 driven by Jay Paisa. I sit corrected. Leila Martinez, your race leader, has now gone into the pit lane, which does mean, depending on if Jay Paisa goes into the pit lane or not, we may have a new race leader. Jade Russell leaving the pit lane with no traffic, so a relatively clear skies in front. Jay Paisa with a 30-second time penalty. However, Jay Paisa, now your new race leader. A little bit farther back, the battle between Alex Cruz and Bonus Charles continues on. Both drivers not giving an inch, a centimeter, a pictometer, a dectometer, or whatever to each other, making the other driver fight for everything. A squirrely exit for the AMG. Bonus Charles trying to go along the outside. A defensive move baited by Alex Cruz and the number 12. Along the middle of the track, can Bonus Charles get along the outside, trying to cut off the nose of the number 12. The number 12 trying to stay along the inside, but is now along the outside of the next turn. The number 26 able to stay ahead. Alex Cruz not able to make the defensive move happen, and now Alex Cruz moves down into P5, which gives Kyle White enough time to catch up now. The 251 trying to slip along the inside, sees a little bit of a window, but not able to make it stick either. Kyle White now in the middle of this battle, though, and has joined the battle. The drums of war has sounded, and Kyle White has heard the call. Keep an eye on your race leader still, the number 135 McLaren driven by Jay Paisa. We do have Andrew Rados in the number 82 Porsche right behind him. Jay Paisa going into the pit lane. So as he crosses that line and he gets into the pit lane, into his pit window, or sorry, his pit box, he's gonna take the necessary fuel for the rest of this race. A little bit of front end damage there, but I don't think that's not too detrimental to your race. But that does give us a new race leader. The number 82 Porsche driven by Andrew Rados is now your new race leader. This fight continues on along the inside. Kyle White tries to make his Aston Martin stick. The Mercedes AMG having to go wide along the inside. Now Kyle White able to make a stick, moving up into P4. Alex Cruz trying to use all the power of the V8, of the naturally aspirated V8 of the Mercedes AMG to get past Kyle White. Kyle White with a great defensive line, though, sticking his car right in the middle of the track, making Alex Cruz have to decide either go inside or around the outside. Alex Cruz decides or elects to go around the outside. Now is he going to have to make the double move? Tries to elect for the undercut. Squirrely exit for Kyle White, so this might potentially be in Alex Cruz's favor. Now it's the back long straight. Will the V8 of the Mercedes AMG outpower the V8 of the Aston Martin? I believe the V8 of the Aston Martin is twin turboed, so it's a twin turbo V8 compared to the naturally aspirated V8 that is inside of the Mercedes AMG, which does make it a little bit heavier as the engine is bigger. It's like it's a 6.2 liter. I think it's a 6.2 liter V8 or a 6.0 liter V8, which is still a big engine. blue flag there in front, or a couple spots in front of Alex Cruz. That does signal the driver that means that there is a car laps above them coming up, and that they must give or help facilitate an overtake within 2 sectors. Oh, Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG given a drive-through. Alex Cruz with the drive-through. Oh no. That could potentially push him off podium contention for the championship, as Alex Cruz is P5 overall, Leila Martinez in P2, Andrew Rado's P1. Oh, this is going to be detrimental to the championship. Kimo Smith in the number 727 Porsche, P10 overall, P10, P4 for the silver drivers. So I believe Kimo needs to be at least P3 to win the championship if Kyle White stays in the lead. For the rookies, I'm looking at Brandon Ash and Adonique Stapleton. Brandon Ash, where is Mr. Ash? He's in P20 at the number 69. This could potentially push Brandon Ash into P3 for the championship and move Adonique up into P2. It looks like Sebastian Quesada is in a relatively safe spot in P1 with 168 total points. So it doesn't look like Sebastian is going to be losing P1. So I believe that Sebastian is your championship winner for the rookies. However, I'm going to make sure that at the end I get all the points correctly tallied on my screen here, and we will let you know that for a fact. However, 2 minutes, 34 seconds left in the official pit window, which means there are 17 minutes and 30 seconds left in the final race of Odyssey Racing League GT America's Season 20. Right now, your race leader, Andrew Rados, in the number 82 Porsche. P2 goes to Leila Martinez in the number 924 Aston Martin. And rounding off your podium is Bonus Charles in the number 26 BMW. Kyle White in the number 251 Aston Martin is leading your amateur drivers, your silver drivers. He is in the lead right now. And for the rookie drivers, all the way in P10, However, in the lead for the red plates for the rookies, it is Phil Dixon in the number 85 Porsche. So with a win, Phil Dixon may actually also put himself in podium contention here with, it'll be 50 total points. So with 120 under his belt right now, that would put him at 170, which would put him right under, or actually right above Sebastian with 170 points. It would be 2 points above the leader. So with the win tonight, Phil Dixon might actually take the win. Oh, it's so close. I'm doing the calculations now, and Adonik might actually, if Adonik stays in P2, he might actually win by 2 points. Oh, this is such a close championship, racing fans. Darth Kimo and Drew Jensen fighting it out here for P3. This is for championship. This is actually for the silver championship, as Darth Kimo needs at least P3. Drew Jensen with the go-ahead, giving the go-ahead position to the number 727. Looks like they may have been, may have gotten into a little tussle there, and Drew Jensen giving up the spot. But the number 727 now in P8 overall, P3 for the silver drivers. And with that, our official pit window is closed, which means we have 15 minutes left, racing fans. Contact. I have a contact flag here between Michael Maletta, and is that with Kyle White? Let me see. It's with the number 69. So Brandon Ash and Michael Maletta, unfortunately, banging doors there. Let me see if we can get a visual of what happened here. So coming into turn 1, it looks like the number 69 just slowing down a little bit more than the number 72 would have liked. Oh, okay. Just incidental contact. Squirrely exit there for the number 7, or not for the number 72. Squirrely exit there for the number 69, trying to regain control. And unfortunately, the number 72 just taps the back end. Takes a little bite, takes a little chunk out of the out of the back bumper there. A little nibble. Jade Russell with the slipstream. Along the outside, Jade Russell goes. That's potentially far too outside as two left-hand side tires go in or outside of the white lines. Going to have to go wide there on the third to last turn, which allows Andrew Rados pass. Andrew Rados is a blue flag, so these drivers here have to help facilitate a clean overtake for the blue flag drivers, and Jade Russell potentially making capitalizing on the mistake of Shane Sullivan, excuse me, not Shane Sullivan, Ryan Chanley there, having to go wide for the blue flag, the number 67 Ford Mustang, able to still stick out ahead, powering out and staying in front of the number 234 Ferrari. However, Jade Russell with a little undercut, is it able to stick? No, as the Ferrari is not able to keep its tires underneath itself as it gets squirrely on the exit there. Ryan Chanley able to stay ahead for P13 in the number 67 Ford Mustang. The number 83, driven by Robert Logan, serving his drive-through penalty. You can see him there on the right hand side of our screen. We do see a little track map. It shows him off the track there, but that is actually the track exit. The pit lane exit. It kind of goes far wide out there. And a stop go 30 for the number 83 for speeding in the pits. What happened? So potentially on the entrance, the number 83 sped in the pits, and after doing the drive-through was given a stop go 30, which means he was going a lot faster than he should have, and unfortunately is now retired from the race. However, on our screen, Michael Cortez for Noobs Are Us. Blue flag being shown, but not letting that deter him from continuing his battle with Jay Paisa in the number 135 McLaren in front. That's Leila Martinez that is being granted the blue flag there. As you do see the flames pop out the back of Michael Cortez's McLaren. When will they be giving the space to the Aston Martin? We don't know, as it does look like potentially they're going to be giving it there. Yeah, it does look like it. There it is. Michael Cortez granting space to the blue flag driver, or the overtaking driver there. It's that time of the night, racing fans, for our fun Pokemon fun fact of the night. So, fun fact, in case you did not know, the Pokemon known as Clefairy was actually intended to be the main mascot of the Pokemon franchise and series. So everybody knows Pikachu, and Pikachu's very famous and a very loved and adorable Pokemon. But the Pokemon Company in the beginning actually didn't really like Pikachu. They pushed more for Clefairy. But as we all know, the fans basically get to dictate and decide, and they chose Pikachu. So Pikachu then became the official mascot for the Pokemon company. So in fact, it used to be Clefairy, and it was pushed to have been Clefairy. They really wanted Clefairy, but nope. Everyone else chose Pikachu. And a good choice, because I'm much more of a Clefable fan. I do not like Clefairy. Clefable, great. Speaking of great, Agüero Martinez side by side with Kyle White, fighting for P4. A potential switcheroo being made, but but Kyle White potentially showing his hand a little too early. Should have probably kept his cards closer to his chest, but Agüero Martinez able to sense that move coming, puts himself in a great defensive line and moves up into P4. The number 15 BMW with the Spanish driver behind the wheel, moving up into P4. And this is, again, for the Silver Championship. So Agüero Martinez is potentially putting a thorn in the side of the Silver Champion. With only 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, it's like 3 or 4 laps, ladies and gentlemen. Getting a little bit cloudier, a little bit darker. It is 9 p.m. on the track. Wait, it's 9 p.m. and it's not dark in Italy? What time does it get dark in Italy? No way. No way it's this clear at 9 p.m. At 2102. Like it's this? No way. I need to visit Italy. Well, I'm rambling, racing fans, but I would love to visit Italy one day. That's one of the countries that I have written down. Italy's one of them. Jay Paisa in the pit lane, the number 135. Potentially for damage. I don't see why the number 135 would be in the pit lane, but that's going to be pushing them down into P18. Your race leader, the number 82 Porsche, Andrew Rattles, still holding on to the Purple Crown with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Fastest time on track, 1:33.842. Does go to the number 82 Porsche. Two minutes and 25 seconds left to go, racing fans. So it looks to be, depending on where the leader is, that looks to be about 2 laps remaining. Except we'll keep an eye here for the white flag. Once we see that white flag, that lets us know that there is 1 lap remaining. It is the final lap. On the track map, though, we can see the number 82 passing the last turn, MISANO curve, and crossing the finish line No, it looks like it's going to be about 2 more laps to go. I do see the number 67 having a little bit of trouble there. As they were just given a drive-through for track limits. A yellow contact flag for Michael Cortez and the number 716. The number 67, yeah, given a drive-through. We saw that. That's interesting that it showed to us twice. Maybe because he got it on the last turn. And so that counts as a lap. And you only have 3 laps to serve it. A quick shout out to our racing stewards tonight. Thank you very much for being here. As you probably do know, racing fans, and I do say this every race, we do have a live stewards here. They are volunteers and they are here every single race, trying to give our drivers the best experience that they can on track. A big shout out to our stewards. Thank you so much for being here. A big shout out to all the drivers on track. That is the white flag, and so that is the final lap of the final round of Odyssey Racing League GT America's Season 20. We do have the white flag, so we're going to be watching and keeping an eye on the leader to see when they cross the finish line. But again, a big shout out to our live stewards. A big shout out to our drivers on the track. And of course, a special shout out to you, the viewer, our racing fans. Thank you so much for tuning in either live or sometime in the future, anytime you're watching this. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me ramble for the last couple of seasons. I've been having a lot of fun doing this. Somebody that is also probably having a lot of fun with the last to first challenge, making it work. The number 82 Porsche, driven by Andrew Rados, going through the final turn at Misano, sees the checkered flag under the Misano banner, through the checkered flag, and your winner of Odyssey Racing League Season 20 of GT Americas, Andrew Rados, your winner. Layla Martinez. Oh, we didn't get to see it, but Phil Dixon in the number 85 Porsche, your winner for the rookie class, crosses the finish line a little bit earlier than we would have liked, because I would have loved to have shown him crossing the finish line. But Layla Martinez in the number 924 Aston Martin Baby Shark crosses the finish line and the checkered flag in P2. Congratulations to Layla Martinez, P2. Bonus Charles in the number 26 BMW for Mama Africa M Sport. The final turn past him under the Misano circuit banner, through the checkered flag, and your P3, your P3 driver, Bonus Charles, in the number 26 BMW. We did not get to see him cross the line, but Agüero Martinez in the number 15 BMW, your winner for the silver drivers. And Phil Dixon, your winner for the rookies, the red plates. So Andrew Rados, your overall winner and your championship winner. So congratulations to the Season 20 champion of the pro category, Andrew Rados. A little Porsche kissy action happening between these Porsches there. But a well fought between all three of the drivers, Andrew Rados, Layla Martinez, and Bonus Charles there for the final championship contention. Wow, what a season.
Feels different here. No rules left, just movement, just shadow. Your face wasn't clear, but I followed it through the shimmer, through the noise, everything slow. Waves without water, lines without form. I reach, but I don't need to touch. I already know. Ooh.
And that's it, racing fans. That is season 20 under wraps. 20 whole seasons of Odyssey Racing League GT Americas. What an incredible time to be a motorsport fan. Thank you to each and every single one of the drivers that came out tonight. Thank you to you watching at home, at a bar, on the toilet, anywhere, either live or sometime in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Your championship winner for season 20 Odyssey Racing League GT Americas in the pro category, it'll be Andrew Rados. Your amateur winner, I believe right now, is Darth Chemo in the number 727 Porsche. It may be Kyle White. The numbers aren't complete yet. However, it's going to be between Kyle White and Darth Chemo. And for the rookie plates, it does look like Adonique Stapleton might be taking home the championship here. The final results will be posted up on SimGrid and our Discord. But that's going to be it from us here at the booth. My name is Christian Julian. I go by Koju. And it has been a pleasure being your broadcaster for the past couple of seasons. Season 21, we're going to be bringing in some fresh blood. Or maybe I'll come, or maybe you might see me make a cameo here and there for season 21. But that's going to be it from here at the booth. My name is Christian Julian. I go by Koju. On behalf of Odyssey Racing League, thank you so much for joining us for season 20. I hope to see you all here for season 21. Who knows? Maybe you might be behind the wheel. Maybe you'll get to fight me behind the wheel. Who knows? I might be on the track. Who knows? Anything can happen. Have a good night. Take care.
Lost meaning. Time folded inward. I was there and not there. A breath in slow rewind. without force, without sound. The darkest one.